Well, hey, Lifepointe, the past 9 months have brought challenges to all of us. And for those of us who help lead the mission of helping people connect with God, we have dealt with some challenges on how can we keep people connected, not just physically when we're not able to meet, but how can we keep people connected relationally and emotionally. And we've been really before God asking, God, how would you have us proceed into the future and help as many people get connected with you as possible? So last summer, the leadership team and we got together and started to think about, well, what could we do to make sure that our church reaches everybody no matter where they are? Because some of you won't be back in person for quite a while. Some of you are excited that today, December 6th, is the day that we're back together at all 3 of our locations. And some of you, maybe you're somewhere in the middle and you're not sure. Well, after a lot of discernment, a lot of prayer, and a lot of discussion, we realized that the church needs to change in the way we think about the environments we ask people to take part in. And what we did this summer was come up with 3 environments that we believe are going to help more people than ever get connected to God. The first environment, you all know it. It's church in a building. That's how we've operated for 16 years as a church. But over the past 9 months, we've added one very important component, and that is church online. So church in a building and church online, which is what many of you are experiencing right now. Church online is going to continue to be its own environment. It's not just going to be a recording of Sunday morning, but it's going to be a customized environment for people watching in their homes or wherever they are online. But then there's a third environment that we are putting a lot of energy and resources in. In fact, so much that we've repositioned staff for all 3 of those environments, but we've repositioned Austin to lead the charge for what we're calling Church on the Block. And I'm going to let Austin explain what that is and how that works and how you can take a step if you're ready to be involved with Church on the Block.
So when I think about Church on the Block, Donnie, I had this thought that came back from almost 4 years ago. It was one of the first memories that I had of meeting you. And I remember walking in the back in our green room just before going out on stage. And I had this shirt. It was one of my favorite shirts. And somewhere along the way, I'd gotten a little bitty bleach stain on it while doing laundry. It had happened so long ago. In fact, I didn't know it was there anymore. I didn't even realize it was a thing. And as soon as I walked into the room, you pointed out, hey, what's on your shirt? I have not worn that shirt since that day. I say that for a specific reason. When I think about the way that we've done church for years, I think God has been so honored and glorified in what we've done. But something happens inside of our minds sometimes on our way to go worship Jesus in a building on Sunday mornings. We get in the car and we drive past men and women with names that Jesus cares about, children with names that Jesus cares about, and we forget that God wants them to have a relationship with Him too. And so in our pursuit of worshiping Jesus, we forget the very people sometimes that He died for. And so Church on the Block is a way for us to pull all of those things together and make an impact, not somewhere down the road in a church building, but in the neighborhoods and areas in which we live and do life. Church on the Block is just like church in the building in that we will worship together. We'll have small group time together, we'll serve together, and we'll even party and invite neighbors into our lives and our homes together. It's an environment for somewhere between 7 and 15 people, depending on the size of a living room, where we'll watch worship together, discuss it afterwards, and once or twice every 6 to 8 weeks, we'll either serve or host something like a barbecue in our home and invite the neighbors we already know and we already do life with to be around people who have relationship with Jesus. It's an incredible way to bring the church back to the neighborhood, Church on the Block. And so maybe today, as you think about Church on the Block, you're thinking, there is no way, this makes no sense. And for you, that's fine. We've got church online and we've got church in the building and you should be there. But for others of you, here's what I know. You're not thinking about anything other than a specific person's face. You see a neighbor. You see a family member. You see someone that you know and care about that you don't think would ever darken the door of our church. And I think God may be speaking to you right here, right now, and I'd love to have a conversation. If that's you, I want you to email me this week at aabney@lifepointechurch.com. It's on the screen right now, aabney@lifepointchurch.com. I've dedicated 3 days of this week to be able to sit down with folks just like you and share a little bit more about what Church on the Block is all about.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. And if you have questions about that, like, well, how does that work and when we're going to start, and am I able to lead something like that, please just get with Austin this week and hang out with him for a little while and let him continue to share the vision of what Church on the Block is supposed to look like and what our vision is for that and how we're going to use that to help more people get connected to God right here in our city. You know, the mission of the church is not optional. So when you say yes to following Jesus, you also say yes to living like Jesus. And you also say yes to helping other people live like Jesus. And so we believe with these three environments that aren't in competition with each other, but these three environments will help as many people as possible get to know who Jesus is, start to live like Jesus, and help other people do the same. I'm excited about these next steps for our church. I'm excited about whatever environment you choose to connect with. And even if one works for a while and then doesn't work for a while, that's okay. So wherever you're connecting, whether it's in a building, online, or in our new environment called Church on the Block, we want to challenge each of you to live on mission and to help other people do the same thing.